in the given time that we have, limited time that we have, we are going to explore as much as we can. And of course, I will try to make it as valuable as I can for you to pick up knowledge from and implement in your day-to-day life when it comes to managing time. Now, just a couple of things before we dive into the topics and the content, amazing content that we have today. Well, if you have not met me before, my name is Vivek. I come with 15 years of experience in learning and development space. I primarily work on soft skills and leadership skills. I have delivered numerous sessions on time management, and I have tried a lot of these concepts that we're going to take a look at in my personal life as well. And in fact, to begin with, I would like to say everything that you would look at today, you would need to personalize it, right? It's not one size fit all. You need to take what you feel is going to work for you, tweak it, modify it, and make it work for you. And of course, given the time that we have, we might not be able to dive into the details. So please listen carefully and take as much as you can. Now, a couple of more points on how you can interact with me. Of course, you would not be able to come on camera and unmute yourself. So make sure you use the chat window to send your comments that you have. But if you have any questions, I would request you to type in your questions in Q&A window. You would find that right at the top. Okay, well, with that, let's get started. I hope your week is going good, today being Wednesday, and I hope you enjoy this particular webinar. Perfect. Okay, so let's get going with that. Okay, first of all, time management, right? I'm sure you are aware of what time management means. So we are not really going to get into the details of what time management is. You know, we're not going to try to define it. But if you look at the screen, you're looking at a character, John, right? And John is trying to multitask at this time. He's got a lot of things happening. There is an email that he needs to send because his boss is waiting for a report. There is call coming from home because it's his son's birthday and he needs to take him out, right? And of course he forgot his lunch because he had to work on that report that his manager asked for. So these are some of the. In fact, this is a situation that all of us sometimes find ourselves into, right? It's very common. And in fact, you know, sometimes it's you start to think whether you are managing time or time is managing you, isn't it? And that's why the concept of time management is very important. It's one of the primary soft skills, power skills that all of us need to learn. Because if you're able to make more time for yourself, and of course, by that I don't mean that you can increase the number of hours in a day. Number of hours would remain 24, right? But yes, if you're able to prioritize your tasks well, if you're able to organize everything that you need to achieve well within those 24 hours, you can make time for what you need to work on for your growth, for your success. It could be in the same job, it could be climbing up the ladder, or it could be some interests that you have on the side that you want to convert into business, right? Or just working on the interests and hobbies that you have. Okay, great. So, well, as I said, we are not going to define what time management is and what the benefits are. We are aware of those, but we will take a look at the process through which you can manage time effectively. It is a process, right? We will also take a look at priority matrix. Uh, and this is the key to prioritizing your tasks, right? We're going to spend some time on it because it's one of the most important concepts when it comes to time management. And from there, we will also take a look at some of the other tools and techniques that you can utilize. Again, this is the list from where you can pick up items, personalize, and see what works for you, experiment with them, and stick to what works the best for you. But again, you will have to continue to evolve these, right? Perfect. Okay, so before we take a look at these different brilliant topics that I have for you today, let us quickly have a Menti session as well, right? So please go to menti.com and use the code that you see on the screen. You can also use the QR code to access menti.com, right? And while you do that, let me also send you the link in the chat window. There you go. You will find the link in the chat window as well. And if you are on menti.com already, please give me a confirmation that you are able to see the first question. I already see the responses, so no confirmations required. Great. So the first question that I have for you is a quick self-assessment. How good do you think you are with time management? Great. Well, this does look like a bell curve with very less numbers coming in. In fact, no vote for the first one. Hey, great. I have one. That's amazing. Great. Well, Neha, thank you for your response and thank you for your honesty. It is a process. It is something that we learn, we improve upon, we pick from, and you will get there, right? It's all about picking the learnings. First of all, learning, being aware of it, implementing, and you will get there. Okay, perfect. Amazing responses. I see the most responses are in, are for the second category, which is you manage your time fine, but you get distracted sometimes. Okay, now let's move on. And this was just your self-assessment from your perspective. Now I have a self-assessment for you with some questions in place, and we will do a quick calculation based on your scores and see what you feel about how good you are, right? Perfect. So bringing up next, slide on your screen. Now, this is not a question, so you would not be able to interact with it, but I would request you to take a piece of paper, use your phone, or use your laptop, right? A Excel file, Word file, anything. And what you need to do is you have 10 statements on the screen. Okay. So guys, we are still on menti.com. Are you still on menti.com? And do you see the 10 statements that I'm talking about? Give me a yes or a no in the chat window. Okay, all right. Well, let me just quickly fix that. It could be because maybe it's not in the presentation mode. Okay, do let me know if you see it now. On menti.com, 10 statements. I see a lot of no's coming in. Okay, so we are not looking at my presentation. We are still on menti.com with the same code. So I see a lot of you do. Okay, let me ping the code again in the chat window. It is the same link, same code. Perfect. I see a lot of you are able to see the list. Now, again, you have to be on menti.com. So you would see the link right there, right? The code right there. Do not worry about the PPT that we're going to go back to that a little later. Be on menti.com. Great. Now on menti.com, you see 10 statements. What you need to do is you need to rate these 10 statements from a 0 to 4. 0 means never, 1 means rarely, 2 means sometimes, 3 often, and 4 always, right? So rate yourself as to how much of these do you do, and then we will do a quick calculation and see what your score is like. And I see that a lot of you have already done it. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So folks, again, do not worry about my screen. Please go to menti.com on your screen and take a look at the list of statements. Okay, great. Well, in fact, just to avoid any confusion, let me just also share my screen again, right? And okay, you should be able to see the statements on my screen as well. But yes, again, going back to menti.com, right? That's where we are. Perfect. I see that a lot of you have done the rating. Do not worry. We will also try to, of course, the call is also being recorded. We will try to share these statements with you so that you can take a look at them later. Perfect. I see that you have rated yourself. So let's move ahead. Let's understand how to calculate your score. So again, we are looking at menti.com, and what you need to do now is, and for the people who are looking at PPT. Let me also present that screen. There you go. Perfect. So we're going to calculate your score now. And what you need to do for that is you need to um, add the scores for statements 1, 3, 4, 6, 8, and 10, right? And then you need to add the scores for statements 2, 5, 7, and 9. Okay, there you go. The screen is up. I hope you're able to see it. All right, the code is there again in the chat window. Okay, perfect. No problem. So just go with me and let's understand what it is, right? Of course, it's not an exam that you need to clear. So let's just understand where we stand. I hope you have calculated your score, right? And now we are going to take a look at what the score means. But I would also like you to go to menti.com, right? And put your score in there on this question. So once again, menti.com. Perfect. Okay, wait. I'm not sure if you can see the score. Let's go back to the slides and just avoid that confusion. Okay, perfect. So I'm sure you have scored yourself. Now let's take a look at the score, right? So if you have scored above 15, that means you are good at time management, right? If you have scored anywhere between 8 to 15, you're able to manage time to a certain degree, but there is quite a lot of improvement that you can work on because that's going to help you. If you have scored anywhere between 0 to 8, you have a long way to go, right? There is a lot of work that you need to do, and you need to start from prioritizing time management. You need to start working on time management skills. And number 4, less than 0. That means mostly you are a beginner, right? There is a lot of ground that you need to cover. Okay, I see requests coming for the statements again. So in fact, let me just put the statements in form of a screenshot in the chat window. Vinod, may I request you to take a screenshot of the screen and put that in the chat window?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So that we can continue while people who could not take a look at the statements, they can. And folks, do not worry if you could not really take part in this assessment because of technical issues, because of time issues. Uh, we will share this with you and you can take it in your own time, okay? Perfect. So Vinod is going to share the screenshot in the chat window so that you can take a look at it. Let us go ahead and start off with the process of time management, right? Now, this was just a quick assessment again against what you said earlier and what you looked at in terms of your scores. I hope they match. If they don't, you know where you need to work, right? So let's get started and let's take a look at what time management process looks like. Now, time management is not just a single concept which you can work on, right? It's a culmination of a lot of different things that come together. Now, just like when you go on a trip, right? You can, of course, wander around, but if you do not have a destination in mind, you would not be able to plan your trip. Similarly, time management starts from goal setting. You need to have some goals in mind. Only then you will be able to manage your time. Only then you will be able to plan your day, your hours. Okay. The next stage, of course, is planning. This is where you break down those goals. You need, you look at what are some of the things that you will do to achieve those goals. What are the things that you need to start doing, stop doing, continue doing to achieve those goals, and you put down a plan to achieve those goals. From there, we look at prioritizing, and that is one of the most important aspects of time management again. Now, once you have put down your plan, you have a clear understanding of what are the tasks that you need to perform, correct? And when you look at all those tasks, they could be big tasks, small tasks, your professional life, your personal life, your personal interests, family time, all of them included, right? Then you need to start prioritizing them. And again, prioritizing them based on your goals, based on the plan that you have put into place. And when you have prioritized these tasks, scheduling is something that comes in handy for you to be able to keep a track of what you have accomplished that day, what you have completed, right? What you're going to work on tomorrow, what you're going to work on next week. And through this scheduling, you can make sure that you don't have to struggle remembering what you need to finish or what you need to be working on at a given point of time, because if you have to do that, you will feel lost, right? Perfect. So that's time management process. Now let's take each element one by one, each stage one by one, and let's dig down a little deeper, right? Perfect. Okay. So number one, goal setting. Of course, goal setting is where it all starts from. If you do not have a goal, if you do not have a purpose, there is no point managing time, right? You can just enjoy your days, you can chill, you can relax, be a couch potato, and that's fine. But if you have goals, if you have purpose that you're pursuing, you need to bring time management into picture. Okay. So we're looking at, first of all, breaking down goals into long-term goals and short-term goals. Uh, Again, some people might say that long-term goals are the ones which you want to achieve beyond a year, after a year, and more than that. And short-term goals are less than a year, right? So let's not get into technicalities. The point is, you need to understand where is it that you want to go in your life, right? 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 2 years from now, and what you want to achieve in next 3 months, 6 months. And usually it is the short-term goals that combine together to help you achieve your long-term goals, right? So that's why you need to start from top down, define your long-term goals first, break them down into short-term goals, and from there work on the planning bit, right? Now, something that you also need to keep in mind while working on your goals is how smart your goals are. Smart goals are very important. Otherwise, you would not be able to achieve them, right? Now, what is the meaning of smart? Smart translates to S for specific, M for measurable, A for achievable, R for realistic, and T for timely. Let's understand this using an example. And we're going to go for a cliche classic example of weight loss, right? Let's say you want to lose your weight. Now you need to specify how much weight you want to lose. Maybe you are 90 kgs right now, and you want to go down to 80 kgs, right? Now that is something which is very specific. You know that you want to lose 10 kgs of weight. Is it measurable? Of course it is, because you can use a scale and you can step on the scale to see what your weight is on a particular day, right? But let's compare this with an unclear goal. So if you're talking about, I want to become rich, correct? That's your goal. But if you don't specify how rich, right? How much money do you want to have? In case you're talking about money, rich in what way? Are you talking about assets that you own? Are you talking about how much earnings you're going to have? What kind of investment you would have, right? So if you don't specify the goals and just say, I want to be rich, it's not a goal. Okay. So going back to the weight loss, it is definitely measurable. You can measure it on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and keep track of it. Then you need to make sure it is achievable. So if you say, I want to lose weight in 10 kgs in just 2 weeks, is it possible? Absolutely not. And it's not achievable, correct? So you need to ensure it is achievable. And that's where you need to do a little bit of thinking. Planning comes into picture here. So you are going to take a look at, how am I going to lose weight? By exercising, following a particular diet, right? Going to the gym. There could be many different ways. Okay. So you need to ensure it's achievable. You cannot say 10 kgs in 2 days or 2 weeks. 10 kgs in 2 months is still possible. So make sure it's achievable. Realistic, again, it should be something that you have that idea about as to how you will achieve it, correct? If you say that I will go to the moon, correct? Now, if you are an employee, just like, or maybe an entrepreneur in this space, or you have your own setup, uh, you know, you might not really be able to go to the moon, correct? Unless maybe there are those tourist missions that start to the moon. So make sure it is realistic. And of course, it has to be timely, because if you do not define the timelines, you would not be able to put down the tasks as to what you want to achieve in this month, next month, this week, this day, and break it down, right? So make sure your goals, whenever you set them, are smart. Great. So now that we're done with goal setting, we look at planning. Now, planning is not a very, there is no concept that you need to really keep in mind when you look at planning. But yes, what you do need to do is take a look at your goals and write down how you're going to achieve your goals. What are some of the things that you can do? What are some of the things that you want to stop doing? What are some of the things that you want to continue doing, right? And when you put it down this way, you will be able to put down an action plan in terms of, hey, start jogging, start going to the gym, join a gym, correct? Stop eating junk food, stop eating outside. So when you put down these kind of statements, this kind of thought process in terms of a plan, from here, your tasks come out, right? So it is one of the you can say one of the stages of the process which joins your goals with how you want to look at the tasks and prioritize them. Okay, perfect. We can take a look at another example for this. So let's say you want to buy a house and that's your goal in next 10 years. So you need to think about, how would I make that much money? Do you want to maybe take loan from a bank and pay EMIs? Do you want to buy the house using your own savings money, right? And or is there any other method, correct? So when you think about this, when you break it down into how I'm going to achieve it, that's your planning. Okay, so you take it down to granular level, and that's where your tasks come from. Now, once these tasks are out, it's very important to prioritize them. And this is where a lot of us, um, you know, lose track, get distracted, and it becomes difficult to keep a track of what we're doing, what we need to finish today, and the whole thing is gone for a toss, right? So let's take a look at the time, management matrix, which is also called Eisenhower Matrix. But before that, let's quickly understand difference between urgent and important tasks. Okay, I'll take a pause here and just go back a step, right? Again, to make sure that you are with me. So far, we have planned how we're going to achieve the goals. So you break it down and you take a look at, hey, I need to start saving money. I need to change my job to earn more. Maybe I need to, if you're in some sort of business, you need to take a look at, okay, maybe I need to revamp this side of my business, right? So from there, you get those smaller goals, and then you talk about, how am I going to do it? I will stop eating outside, right? I will cook at home and eat. I have to join a gym. So all these different kind of goals, or tasks rather, come out from the planning stage. Now you have a list of all these tasks, and along with those tasks, you have those daily tasks, daily things that you need to take care of. For example, you need to definitely give time to your family. You need to be there for your friends. At office, you need to take care of some of the ad hoc work, and of course, your main projects that you're working on. So you have the main work that you're doing, and then there are these side tasks that you perform all the time. Examples could be, you have to pay electricity bill, right? You need to shop a gift for your spouse or your kid, correct? So all of these different tasks also come in there. So it becomes a mixture of all of the tasks, and that's why it becomes important to understand what is urgent and what is important, right? So urgent would be something that you need to take care of immediately then and there. It could be a client call, an escalation that you need to take care of. In personal life, maybe you need to go pick up your kids from school, right? Maybe it's your wife's or girlfriend's birthday, or your boyfriend's birthday, and you need to spend time with them, plan something around it, correct? So these are some of the urgent things that you need to do. Maybe there is some sort of emergency and you need to be there. So those are urgent tasks. And the important tasks are the ones that you have planned out, the tasks that you need to complete, the tasks that you need to accomplish to reach your goals, correct? An example of this could be working out every day to lose weight, right? If you want to maybe become a social media influencer, you need to start spending time on creating content for yourself and be consistent. Maybe put out a video on a daily basis. You need to have some sort of plan in place about your content calendar, right? What it is that you want to publish out there, the content that you want to create. So all of these different aspects go into understanding what is urgent and what is important, right? Now, important is something which helps you achieve your goals, and it doesn't really have to be urgent, but you need to make sure that you do this so you reach your goals. And when we avoid important work sometimes, it becomes urgent. Example, so there is, you want to upskill yourself, right? You want to maybe change your career path a little bit, and you're learning something new. So you joined a course, 3 months course, and after 3 months you have an assessment to appear for and clear that certification to be certified, and then you can apply for different jobs, right? Or maybe make that switch. Now, learning every day or learning in a planned structured manner on a weekly basis is very important, right? That's what you plan, that every week I will spend this much time learning and upskilling myself. But because of urgent tasks, because of any other concerns or issues or challenges, if you're not able to spend time on studying, learning, then during those last couple of weeks, right, you would have to, it would become urgent, and you would have to spend much more time than you should have and rush with that learning. Okay. So that's how urgent tasks end up becoming urgent if we do not really prioritize them, if we do not really schedule them and make sure that we accomplish them. Yep. Great. A couple of more examples can be, let's say, let's talk about what is not urgent and not important. So maybe there are some meetings happening at the office, right? Meetings which you are not really contributing anything to. You just need to be there because you got the invite. It's not an important meeting for you, right? Uh, Time that we spend on social media. If you're on Instagram and you like to watch those reels, uh, if it's not for recreational purpose and you spend around 1 hour just watching the reels, that is definitely not something important, correct? Similarly, watching TV, right? Or maybe excessive shopping, excessive cleaning. These are some of the examples of some of not urgent, not important tasks, right? Let's move ahead and let's take a look at the matrix that we are talking about. So at this point, we have a list of everything that we need to do, right? We know all the tasks that we need to achieve, all the tasks that we need to complete from different spheres of life, your professional life, personal life, anything that you're trying to learn, anything that you're trying to build, family time, all of it included, correct? You have a list of all the tasks. Now, what you need to do is you need to put all those tasks in these 4 boxes that you see. This is called Eisenhower Priority Matrix, and you need to put those tasks in these boxes as per their urgency and importance. So if a task is urgent and important, it goes in box number 1. An example of that could be your boss called you and says, I need a report in next 1 hour. There is a sales meeting tomorrow and you need to prepare your presentation for that, right? Maybe you are into software development and you need to release the software tomorrow and there were some last minute bugs that you need to fix. So those are urgent and important tasks. Crisis, escalation that comes in. You need to be there to handle them, correct? Uh, this could be a call from home, some sort of emergency. You need to go pick up your kids, as I've been saying. Maybe your mom has given you something which is absolutely important. Without that, buying groceries, right? It sometimes does become urgent. So buying groceries, because other than that, there is no food at home. So these are some of the examples of urgent and important tasks. Let's look at not urgent and important. Now, the tasks which are important for you, these are the ones that you planned. I'm going to learn this. I'm going to work out to lose weight. I'm going to, um, build my own business by doing this every week. You're working on a project at office. and every day you need to accomplish some part of it, right? Maybe you are developing something, maybe you're working on a marketing plan, so you need to spend some time, do your research, create things, discuss with people, brainstorm. So all these are important tasks because they will help you achieve a bigger goal, but they're not urgent. That's why you have them scheduled. Correct? Maybe it's that you need to call back a client. Maybe it's that you need to go on a vacation, right? Vacations are important. Recreation, it's important. So you want to go on a trip because there is an anniversary coming up, it's your birthday, you want to go with your friends because it's been some time to refresh, to rejuvenate. So all those are important but not urgent tasks. Then comes urgent tasks which are not important. And there are some brilliant examples for this. Okay, sometimes what happens is you are at the office, right, and your colleague says, hey, I need your help with something really, really urgent. Correct? I need some data. Now, right, when you're working at in a office environment, corporate environment, everything is urgent for everyone. Everybody says, I want it now, I want it by end of the day. But it's not really that urgent in a lot of cases. Correct? Maybe your colleague, you can help your colleague after some time, right? Maybe you can give them something to work with in the meantime when you finish your work, and then go help them. So that's an example. You're working on a very critical task, right? And there is a um, email that hits your inbox, right? Or maybe someone is pinging you and someone is asking you for some information on ping on or that email. So these are distractions, these are interruptions. The work or the information that they're looking for, it could be urgent because that's how they present it, but it's not important for you, right? Similarly, let's say there is you need to pay some bills, correct? Electricity bill, you need to maybe buy a gift, right? You need to talk to a friend because you've not spoken for quite some time. So all these are examples of urgent, not important for you. Remember, from your perspective, we're not talking about how urgent they are for someone else. Now, the last box. Here we are talking about not urgent and not important tasks. And I think you already know what we are talking about here, right? Scrolling on Instagram, checking Facebook, browsing on internet, watching some random videos, binge watching Netflix, right? Or maybe you know you're working on excessive cleaning in your house. You're just gossip is another brilliant example at the office, right? You get involved in gossip and maybe for an hour you're gossiping. So all these are not urgent and not important tasks. Another important point here is dead projects, right? There was something that you were working on, but now the importance of that project has gone down, right? People are not looking forward for that project to really complete, and that's a dead project, so you don't really have to spend time on it. So you need to assess and move on. Correct? Great. Okay, at this point I would like a quick yes or a no from you to make sure that we understand how we place different uh, tasks in these boxes. Urgent, important, not urgent, important, urgent, not important, not urgent, not important. Okay, let's hear from you. Great, I see a lot of yeses. That's brilliant. Now, this is where it starts from, right? There is a lot of work that you still need to do. Again, another caveat is you don't need to always put your tasks in these boxes. Once you have the understanding, you have the list of tasks. Against those tasks, you can just write down 1, 2, 3, 4, and that becomes your priority, right? You'll get to know which task sits in what box, and you can accordingly pick it up and schedule it, right? Okay, perfect. So now that we understand how to put tasks in all these 4 boxes, let's understand what to do with them, right? That's the important part. Now, of course, anything that's urgent and important, you need to take care of it right then and there. Okay? Anything that is important, not urgent, because you have scheduled it, right? These are the ones that you schedule. You make sure you put them on your calendar, you put them on in your diary, and you do them when you're supposed to do these tasks. Okay? Uh, Number three, urgent, not important tasks. Try to push them. So we're not saying don't help your colleague, because that would not be right. You would definitely spoil your relationship with your colleague if you don't do that. So help the colleague, but try to push that and do it at a time which works for you, a time which does not affect your scheduled tasks. Okay. And the fourth quadrant, not urgent, not important, try to delete these from your calendar. Now let me give you an example of this. You spent 9 hours at the office, right? You come back home, or you were working from home, you spent 9 hours working, and you want to take a small break, right? Now, during this break, you like to go to Instagram, or you like to go to YouTube and watch random videos, right? Or you scroll the reels. Uh, and then you end up spending maybe an hour doing that. So, what was supposed to be a break before maybe you get on with the rest of your day and do what you scheduled, for, uh, you're actually spending a lot of time on social junk, right? Social media. So the point is, try to convert these tasks into recreational tasks. So recreation is important, right? Maybe go play sports if that's what you like. If you like to learn from YouTube videos, have some sort of a purpose to it. What kind of videos you're watching, what learning you're picking up, right? So to kind of bring that angle into picture, make sure that it's recreation which you also schedule. It should not be unchecked. Correct? You get on a call, make sure that you kind of schedule that call, that okay, I'm going to spend this much time and not talk for hours, right? So you need to try to delete number four from your calendars, from your day-to-day life. I know it's very difficult. We are all used to all the notifications that come to our phone, but that's the key. That's the only way we can pick it up, right? And the key is that the more you can gravitate towards box number two, the more you can try to schedule your tasks, everything that you're doing, right? The more you would be in control of your time. Of course, crises is something which you cannot sometimes avoid, but you can still make sure that your important tasks do not become your crisis. We looked at a couple of examples, right? If you did your learning as per the schedule, towards the end you will not have to learn and prepare for that exam that's coming up, right? If you finished your project work as per the schedule on a daily basis, you will not have to maybe pull a 14 hours shift just a day before you need to submit it. Correct? So those are examples of how not urgent important work, box to work becomes urgent and important. And that's what you need to avoid. The more you can bring everything to box two, the better it is. Yep. Give me a yes if we understood what we need to do with the four boxes. Great, thank you. And I'm not saying it's easy, right? It's a journey. You might be doing this to a certain extent, but this will help you put some more structure to your thoughts. And that's what you can inculcate and be able to have more control on what you're doing. Yeah, perfect. So that was Eisenhower Priority Matrix, everyone, a key concept when it comes to time management. But with that, let's quickly move on to scheduling, the last stage of time management. So, of course, when it comes to scheduling, calendars, trackers, and to-do lists, these are the key tools that you can use. Make sure that you use calendars, right? Just like you have office calendar, which is filled with all those meetings, make sure you do that to your personal calendar as well, right? If you've not tried it, try it, and it definitely helps you have more visibility as to how your day is going to go. Sometimes a tracker also helps you with recurring tasks, especially. Let's say there is something that you decided you're going to do on a daily basis: work out, drink X amount of water, right? Avoid Netflix, anything. It could be your checklist, right? So that can be tracked using a tracker, and then you can take a look at how you performed last week or the entire month, and that helps you, right? Similarly, to-do list helps you understand what are some of those tasks that you need to finish today. You can make a to-do list for your week, you can make a to-do list for your day, and make sure that you stick to it. Okay, perfect. Now there are, of course, thousands of templates that you will find. pick things from Google, personalize, tweak, personalize as to what works for you. But let's talk a little bit more about scheduling and see how you can put the schedule on your calendar. Now, if you go to your calendar and say, at this time, I will finish this specific task, prepare the presentation, or if you say, I'm going to make this sales call, correct? That might not really work for you, because the more specific you become, more are the chances that you might get a little distracted, right? Or you might not be able to achieve that particular task in the time that you allotted for it. And that is going to derail your entire day. And hence, there is a concept called time blocking, which plays a role. So as per time blocking, you're looking at your day, right? And instead of specifying the task that you're going to achieve at a particular time, you block 2 hours on your calendar and say, during this time, I'm going to work on this particular project, right? During these 2 hours, I'm going to work out. You don't specify, I will do this particular thing at that time, right? So that's the first thing when it comes to time blocking, that you need to remember that. Make sure you do not put specific tasks on the calendar. Block time, 2 hours for a particular area, family, 2 hours on office work, 1 hour on your personal hobby, 2 hours for learning, and do not specify what you're going to cover in that time, correct? Right, so that's the first thing. Second thing is, if you're not used to time blocking already, it would be a good idea to start slow. Don't block your entire week in a single go. Go with one day first, right? Block your Monday. See how you were able to follow it. Then increase it to 2 weeks the next way. And then increase the number of days that you're covering the next day again, next week again. And that's how you will be able to inculcate the habit without this being discouraged in case you were not able to achieve something. And point number 3 is your buffer time. Every day towards the end of the day, keep an hour of buffer time. Every week towards Friday or Saturday, keep some buffer time so that whatever you could not complete, you can complete during that time. Okay, so that's how time blocking works. So do give it a shot, keeping these 3 things in mind, and see how that works for you. Now, there's this another concept when it comes to scheduling called empty pickle jar, which I will explain to you through a video. And this talks about important tasks, big tasks, right? Project work that you're working on, and those small things like maybe you had to call someone, maybe you had to pay a bill, maybe you had to make a payment, right? So those small things are those smaller tasks that you still need to take care of. But sometimes we end up spending too much time on smaller tasks, trivial tasks, and we are not left with any time for the bigger tasks, right? And that's what empty pickle jar concept is all about. I do have a request, Shrikant, time blocking. If we find some time towards the end, we'll come back to time blocking if that works for you, right? Perfect. So I'm going to play the video. Uh, no one is going to speak in the video. There is music and you would see text on the screen. So do read the text carefully and pick up some value from this. So those are small tasks, some calls, payments. Someone is knocking the door. Then some of the bigger tasks. You need to check a video that your friend sent, right? Some help that your colleague asked for. Your boss wants you to work on something ad hoc. Now the most important ones. There you go. You see, just by reversing the way we look at our tasks, the way we schedule them, scheduling the bigger ones first and making sure that you prioritize them, right? Tasks that matter to you, accomplishing those, and squeezing into the smaller ones in between, right? That is the key to making it work for you. And this is a very simple, practical example of how it works. Try it out, and this would definitely work out for you. Yeah, sometimes ignore your friend's call. It's absolutely okay because you want to finish your main work. Call him back, right? Of course, unless it's an urgency. I'm not saying that avoid your friend's call when it's an urgency. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Great. In fact, I would like to give you an example at this point. Now, once it happened that, and this is a couple of years ago, I was going, to an office. I was going to office, and I left my phone at home. Right. Of course, at the beginning, I was a little worried as to, hey, what if something important comes through? But then, because I did not have my phone with me, there was a lot that I could focus on in a much better way and complete and close. And when I came back home, there was not something, there was nothing urgent or there was nothing really important that I missed. Correct? So that just shows that we're just distracted by these smaller tasks, trivial matters, when we could be focusing on what matters to us. Yeah. Great, let's move ahead quickly. We just have 10 minutes left. Now, this section, again, is going to talk about the tools and techniques other than what we saw so far. The process is kind of over, but just to focus more on what you need to achieve, just to maybe get more done, to avoid something called time robbers, right? Let's quickly talk about time robbers. So sometimes when you cannot say no to people, you end up doing things which derails you, right? Sometimes when you're tired because of interruptions, because of lack of planning, procrastination is biggest enemy of time management, right? So if you, and personally, I am someone who does tend to procrastinate. So if you procrastinate, sometimes you do lose track of what you need to do. Sometimes perfectionism affects the way you handle your tasks, correct? So these time robbers can really take away the time and leave you with maybe no time left. So how do you manage these? We have already spoken about Eisenhower Matrix and empty pickle jar, right? Those are two concepts which we start with. And then we look at procrastination primarily. For people who do not understand procrastination, this one example will help you understand what it means. Back in school or back in college, when you had to finish an assignment, and it happens even today, right? You had to finish an assignment and you had 3 weeks for it. You say, I'm going to get onto it next week. I have plenty of time, right? During that when the second week kicked in, you were still like, there is more time, next week. So you keep postponing it until it is the night before the report, right? Before the day of the exam. And that's when you end up putting in all your energy, pulling off the all-nighters to get things done. Correct? So that's what procrastination is. When you had time, you did not finish it and you waited for the last minute. To avoid this, and it's a very common time robber, there are a couple of things that you can take a look at. Something called Zeganic Effect. Now, all of us are aware of binge watching Netflix, binge scrolling the Instagram reels, Facebook, right? And all of those social media platforms. And this is the effect that they use to hook you, correct? So how does it work is, let's say you watched one episode on Netflix, and by the end, they leave the episode at a point where you would keep asking yourself the question, what happens next? Correct? And you would want to watch the next episode right away. So they don't let your mind rest from closing the loop, correct? You feel like, hey, I cannot leave it in between. Now, just if we reverse this, right, and instead of using it for binge watching, if we use the concept, and this is something that we would require, some deliberate effort to build this as a habit, right? If you think like this about your task, that hey, I need to finish this, I cannot leave it unfinished, right? If you try to develop that thought, the Zeganic effect, right, and you build that as a habit, you will definitely be able to close the tasks much better. Now, this is not an easy one to go for. So this takes effort and conscious effort to really build. You cannot leave a task empty. It should keep affecting your mind that, hey, I need to go back to it, right? That's what Zeganic Effect is all about. But you can combine this with something called a Pomodoro technique. And this is a brilliant technique. I use it sometimes, and it's very, very effective, especially when you have a lot to deal with. There are a lot of distractions, and you want to hyper focus, right? That's when you achieve some of the things, you close some of the tasks. So what you do is, this can be done in different cycles. So let's say 30-minute cycle, right? So you start with 30-minute cycle, and you decide that for first 25 minutes, and you set a timer, right? First 25 minutes, and timer not on phone, on a clock, correct? 25 minutes, you just do not do anything else. You just focus on that one thing you need to finish, one task that you need to finish, right? And it works best for those bigger project tasks, something that you're building, something that you're creating or researching, right? Let's say you're writing an article. This would be the perfect thing for you. So you spend 25 minutes just working, and then you take 5 minutes break, a short 5 minutes break. So what this does is, it again creates that Zeganic effect, right? You feel I need to go back to it and finish it. And you also make sure that you take that small breather in between so you don't feel exhausted. And then you go back to it again, take another 25 minutes, right? Focus on your work, keep away your phone, keep away all the distractions, right? Just you and work. And then you take 5 minutes again. And after a couple of these cycles, you can take a longer break, 15 to 30 minutes break. So when you try to accomplish some of the tasks this way, you can hyper focus and do more in less time. Yeah. Try it out. Very interesting concept. Okay, let's move on to something called a Pareto Principle. So those of you who work on project management, you might have heard of it. What Pareto Principle means is that 20% of your tasks take 80% of your time. If you identify these 20% of the tasks, right, you would be able to maybe eliminate them, automate them, remove them from the picture, change them, modify them, do whatever you want to do with them. But then if you're able to take care of it, you are saving almost 80% of your time, which you can put in doing what's more important, right? So that's what Pareto Principle is. Do explore this a little bit more in detail. There are more nitty-gritties that go into it, but from a high level, that's what it means. Another important concept, and this is my favorite, I use it for almost everything that I do, and it's beautiful, right? I'll give you an example of this. Now, how often do you do your laundry? Do you choose to do your laundry on a Saturday or a Sunday, weekly once, or every day, right? So imagine if you did it every day, and I'm talking about maybe, like 10 clothes together, right? If you did it every day, you're mostly spending same amount of time that you would on a Saturday or a Sunday, right? Maybe half an hour every day. But on a Saturday, you might take 1 hour and finish all your laundry. So you're taking lesser time by batching the tasks which are recurring, tasks which you need to finish on a regular basis. If you batch them, it helps you finish them with more focus and faster. Another example, and if you try it from tomorrow itself, you'll see good results. Emails, right? People expect you to reply to emails immediately. And sometimes we also get into the habit that you have your Outlook open and you're replying to the emails the moment you get one from someone. But I would suggest put a time block on your calendar in the morning hours when you start your work, right? Half an hour you spend on emails. In the evening hours, 45 minutes you spend on emails, and just take care of all the emails during these two scheduled times, right? And you would notice that you are less distracted, you are able to accomplish more, and during these hours, the scheduled time, you're able to respond to emails better, okay? Because your mind would be able to focus. So try it out. This might not really work for all the roles, because let's say if you're working in a service industry and you need to keep monitoring your email, it might not work. But over there as well, you can apply rules and do this for the emails which matter less, right? Okay, last concept, which is called energy levels. Now, your energy levels do not stay the same throughout the week or throughout the day. In the morning, maybe you feel much more energetic. In the afternoon, some of us feel a little lazy and we want to take a nap. Towards the evening, some of us are totally tired and some of us are really energetic, right? So we have our own biological clocks and energy cycles. So if you're able to identify your energy pattern and use this concept to schedule your tasks, important ones when you have more energy, less important ones when you have less energy, right? If you use that pattern to schedule your tasks, again, you would be able to accomplish more. Okay. So these were the concepts. We again come back to menti.com for a quick closure question, right? And while you go to menti.com, let me also give you the link. Just a second. Okay, here's the link. And I will also activate this for you on Menti so that you can take part. Right now, it's not activated. Just a second. At what is something that you are taking away from this session, and let me just bring it up. There you go. You should be able to. Oh, I see some responses coming in already. So that's brilliant. It's working. Great. So keep sending your responses. And let me quickly take up that question that we had on time blocking again. We have 2 minutes. So um, time blocking is about, let's say you have 10 hours of your day where you want to spend more time working. Let's talk about office itself, right? You have office timings 9 to 10. So there are 5 different projects that you're working on, and according to priority, you know which project you want to spend more time on. So you would say on a Monday and a Tuesday, I'm going to work more on these projects, and you block 3 hours of your time on those 2 days, correct? Then there are certain meetings that you need to take care of, and maybe you are the one who has the liberty to schedule these meetings, so you might want to schedule the meetings on a Wednesday, maybe because that's what works better for you in terms of focus. So on Wednesday you focus more on meetings, right? Similarly, if there are some reports that you need to work on, you block that time on your calendar, right? Saying this is the time when I will work on all the reports. So when you block your calendar with the larger section, like a block altogether, that works better instead of saying, at this particular time in half an hour, I will finish this report, right? So I hope that answered the question that we had on time block to explain. I do see there are some other questions. Okay, perfect. What can we do if I feel sleepy after planning everything? Brilliant. Okay, so first of all, I would say it starts from your goals, right? If you have your goals very clearly described, if you have your purpose very clearly described, that should keep you awake. But if it is because of energy levels, maybe you want to modify how you are scheduling your tasks and putting the plan, right? So that's what I would go with in terms of answer. Okay, how do we handle situation when I have planned something at a time slot, but I have a dependency on someone or something for an input which gets delayed? Do I delay subsequent activities, or I park this one at the end of day? Okay, at the cost of something else like okay, so I would say do not do this at cost of personal and family time, right? Both are important. Both are equally important. So I would suggest when you're planning your task, uh, factor in the dependency that you have, and also tell yourself, if I don't get it at by this time, would I push that block and finish it maybe tomorrow, right? Or a little later, and take up the tasks which you were going to perform later and finish them right then and there, right? So those flexible adjustments you will have to make, especially when there are dependencies which can affect your flow. I hope that answers the question. Well, it is 4-1. I do see there are a couple of more questions. So let me take 2 more questions and then we will call it a day, right? And for those who cannot stay with us any longer, thank you so much for joining the webinar. Hope you got some value from this session, and see you again in one of the other sessions. Okay. How many hours of sleep do we need actually? Sleeping for 5 to 5 hours is enough? I would say it absolutely depends on you. Doctors and all the scientists, they suggest 6 to 8 hours, right? And if you go by let's say maybe some of what our spiritual gurus also say, they say 6 to 8 hours. So if 6 hours works for you, good. If you are someone who requires 8 hours of sleep to be active, plan your day accordingly, right? I personally choose to go for 6 hours and maybe take a small nap sometimes in the afternoon. And during weekends, I do 8 hours, right? So again, it's your personal choice. Whatever we are talking about in time management, you can tweak it according to what works for you. Okay, planning for one thing and getting boredom and not getting a mood to continue and finish it. How to overcome this? Okay, so you need to factor in, especially if these are boring tasks, right? Especially the ones which you have to do that you don't want to do. Um, Give yourself something to celebrate, right? Maybe say, if I'm able to finish this week, right, I'm going to celebrate in this particular manner. You can also try to build in Zeganic Effect, right? Keep telling yourself in the mind, I need to finish this task because of this task, I'm not able to enjoy my other work. So I need to finish this. Yeah. Okay. Unable to put required efforts at most of the times. Yep, that's mostly because of procrastination, or it could be because of lack of goals. The more clearly defined your goals are, uh, the lesser the procrastination that you would see, right? So work more on the goals. And then when it comes to procrastination, try Pomodoro technique. That will definitely help. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so that was it, guys. I hope you really enjoyed the webinar today. I did. And have a great time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.